Pshita, that's obvious. So Gemara says no. Lights richa. The whole chiddush is the ruba min chad mistapkin. That the majority, for the most part, they use one type of oil. Ma'adatema, you might have thought ezel basa ruba that we're going to go basa the rive, and that he's only answering himself from the oil that is used for the most part, and not the other type of oil which is rarely or seldom used. Kamashman, the chiddush is safek yisur l'chumra. Since we're dealing with a safek of isur, perhaps he's also including a thing which is sometimes used, so therefore he's not allowed to have both types of oil. The Rabbi continues, Hanodim and Ayark b'shar shnei shavua. Let's say someone made a neder, he's not going to have yark, he's not going to have vegetables or greens, and this is dealing with the rest of the years of the Shemitah cycle, meaning years 1 through 6. So Asr b'yarkes hagino, mutter b'yarkes asada. He's not allowed to have yarkes gina. This means garden vegetables. What does it mean garden vegetables? Cultivated vegetables, things that were planted purposefully. But he's allowed to have vegetables that grow wild. He definitely wasn't including those vegetables that grow wild. Uba shvias, however, if he made his neder on Shemitah, Asr b'yarkes asada, mutter b'yarkes hagina. He's not allowed to have vegetables that grow wild, but he is allowed to have vegetables that grow in a garden. On Shemitah, everything gets reversed. Since on Shemitah everything is hefker, so the more standard of the vegetables that are going to be eaten during a Shemitah year are the ones that grow wild, whereas the ones that are usually cultivated and usually grown in a garden, those are not really eaten on Shemitah because you're not allowed to grow them on Shemitah, so those would be mutter. Now, Amar B'Val Mishur Chanina B'Gamliel, Nun Gimel Beis on the top, Lo Yishanu El B'Makam She'ein Mevin Yark Mechutz La'aretz La'aretz. This is only taught in a place where they do not import vegetables from Chutz La'aretz to Eretz Yisrael during the Shemitah year. Avol Makam She'mevin Yark Mechutz La'aretz La'aretz. But if it's a place or a time where they import vegetables from Chutz La'aretz to Eretz Yisrael on the Shemitah year, Asr, since Asr for him to eat vegetables that are cultivated in the garden, because those types of vegetables are imported from Chutz La'aretz, and so therefore he was including it in his neder. I think Gemara says Ketanai, this is just like a Machlekes Tanaim. Ein Mevin Yark Mechutz La'aretz La'aretz. One is not allowed to import vegetables from Chutz La'aretz into Eretz Yisrael. Rabbi Chanani ben Gamliel, he says, Mevin Yark Mechutz La'aretz La'aretz. One is allowed to import vegetables from Chutz La'aretz to Eretz Yisrael. Now, my time with the Man Amar Ein Mevin. What's the reason of the Man Amar that we are not allowed to import vegetables from Chutz La'aretz into Eretz Yisrael? So Rabbi Yirmiyah, he explains, Mishum Gush, because of a clump of earth. We know that the earth of Chutz La'aretz is Tameh, and this Man Amar is afraid that if we import vegetables from Chutz La'aretz into Eretz Yisrael, there's going to be clumps of Chutz La'aretz dirt stuck onto these vegetables. They're going to be brought into Eretz Yisrael, and they're going to spread Tumah. So this Man Amar holds no importing vegetables from Chutz La'aretz into Eretz Yisrael, and by that same token, that Man Amar would allow a person to eat Yarkes Gina on Shemitah if the person said he's not going to eat vegetables. That's because Yarkes Gina are not being imported from Chutz La'aretz, so he clearly wasn't including them in his neder. Now, with a similar Mishnah, the Mishnah continues, Mena Krov, if a person asks himself from Krov, which is cabbage, also by asparagus, he's not allowed to have asparagus. Asparagus is some strain of cabbage. However, Mena asparagus mutter Krov, if he asks himself only from asparagus, he's allowed to have Krov. Mena Grisen, if he asks himself from grisen, which is some sort of dish, also by mikvah, he's not allowed to have mikvah, because mikvah is a type of dish which is included in grisen. People usually say mikvah shel grisen, so it's a type of grisen, whereas Rabbi Yossi allows him. However, Mina mikvah, if he asks himself for mikvah, mutter b'grisen, he's allowed to have grisen. Mina mikvah, asr b'shom, if he asks himself for mikvah from his type of dish, so he's not allowed to have garlic. Rabbi Yossi does allow him to, but Mina shom, if he asks himself from garlic, mutter mikvah, he's allowed to have his dish. Mina adashim, if he asks himself from lentils, asr b'ashishim, he's not allowed to have honey fried lentils, because one is included in the other. Rabbi Yossi allows him to. Mina ashishim, if he asks himself from ashishim, mutter b'adashim, he's allowed to have lentils. Now let's say the fellow says, chita, chitin, sha'anitayim. So he used two lashonos, lashon yachid and rabim, singular and plural. So in such a case, asr bahen, ben kamach, ben hapas. He's not allowed to have any sort of wheat. He's not allowed to have wheat kernels, he's not allowed to have wheat flour, and he's not allowed to have bread. Bread would be included under the word chita. Chita means wheat, and pas is one thing. So it seems to be that he's answering himself from pas when he says chita, and when he says chitin, he's answering himself from even multiple grains. Furthermore, let's say the fellow says grisin, sha'anitayim. So again, he uses two lashonos, asr bahen, ben chayin, ben mevushalin. He's not allowed to eat from them whether they're raw or cooked. Rabbi Yehuda says, kainam gris oy chita shanitayim. Let's say he only used the singular lashon. Kainam, I'm not going to have gris or chita, so in mutter lachos chayim, he is allowed to chew them raw. And Rabbi Yehuda is not arguing with the Tanakama, he's just further explaining. And the Gemara says, Tanya, we have a brayso. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says, chita shanitayim. Let's say the fellow says, I'm not going to have chita. Asr lefais, he's not allowed to bake it into bread. As we had said, chita implies a loaf of bread. Mutter lachos, but he is allowed to chew the grains. Let's say the fellow says, chitim shanitayim. I'm not going to have chitim, the plural lashon. Asr lachos, he's not allowed to chew the grains. Mutter lefais, but he's allowed to bake it into bread. Let's say the fellow says, chita, chitin shanitayim. So again, he used both the singular lashon and the plural lashon. Asr bein lachos bein lefais, he's not allowed to chew them or bake it. Let's say he says gris shanitayim, asr levashal, he's not allowed to cook it, mutter lachos, but he is allowed to chew them. Grisin shanitayim, if he uses the plural lashon, asr lachos, mutter levashal, he's not allowed to chew it, but he is allowed to cook it. Gris, grisin, shani tayim. He used both lashonos. Aser bein levashal, bein lachos. No cooking it or chewing it. Hadron lachano dibin avashal. Mazal for finishing this 6th parak of Maseches Nedarim. Just like we were zecher to finish this parak together, we should be zecher to finish the entire Masechta together. We're going to stop here for the day. Pick up tomorrow with a brand new parak. For now, everyone should have a wonderful day.